155th Street, Sugar Hill.
St. Nicholas Avenue.
St. Nicholas Avenue.
Famous corner where apparently a lot of the heroes of the Harlem Renaissance hung out.
That's right. Duke Ellington lived not very far from here. W.B. Du Bois, Langston Hughes.
So is this an effort to bring the culture back to Harlem, or at any rate make it clear to people that there's always been culture in Harlem?
I believe that's the case. I believe that's the case. The Studio Museum of Harlem is 25 blocks down the way, which is, I think, probably too much for a lot of the people who live around here to essentially sort of engage with contemporary art. So contemporary art in a certain way has come to them in a specific setting.
I can't say I see anything in here that I think, wow, that's a really good work of art. But you know, maybe it doesn't matter if I like the art, if you like the art. What matters is just that it's here, that there's an attempt to actually make art matter in the world of the 99%.
Exactly. This is work that's intended to basically sort of show art to the community, show contemporary art to the community, and also sort of engage them, socially engaged art.
Yep.
So,
art, 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 art. Blackness, awash.
Awash in a sea of, what are they now?
Ebony and ivory. Wait a minute, I feel a song coming on.
There you go.
Should we do it? Ebony and...
You go ahead and do it.
So this is the keys from 400 pianos.
And in the middle of it, this African-American head. The artist got access to tons of these things, and he basically sort of trucked them in to almost bury, almost drown this African-American head. Cast adrift. Now, you know, I think there's an argument to be made every now and again that certain kinds of, how should I say, regular kind of art, regular kind of sculpture acquire a different set of complexities in an environment like this, and particularly when they have message.
Yeah, in other words, it's something that might make you gag, like a really old-fashioned realist head of a black man is permitted in this context.
I guess what I'm suggesting is that there are times when content is complex enough and interesting enough that the vehicle may not be the thing. The visual retinal vehicle may not be necessarily the thing to be looking for.
My favorite word again, ostension. Something like that just points at blackness. And it doesn't matter how it does it, doesn't matter what it looks like.
Right.
It just says, pay attention, this is the issue at hand.
Right.
In a way, for a figurative sculpture, this treatment is so banal, so cliched, that it doesn't matter. It's emptied of content and just becomes, again, a finger pointing at a subject.
Right.
It's almost, in a way, weird way, like a photograph, where you just read right through it to the subject, and the subject is in praise of a great black thinker in the great black neighborhood.
Well, and also in our own time, as opposed to basically sort of like shuttling him to history. And you're absolutely right.
Supervising.
Yeah, and you know, you're absolutely right. Cliches also are a form of material.
Right, that's interesting. I like that. It's cliche as clay.
Right.
You're not so dumb sometimes, occasionally, so long as we leave coons out of the equation. For now, at least, these apartments have art.
But there's something special to these home furnishings. Do you remember what that is, Blake?
Yes, Mr. Teacher. Camilla Rashid. This is an artist who was homeless herself. Her whole family was homeless in California.
For a decade.
What I really like about this is that it doesn't look like art. It's not arty. It doesn't say, I am art. It's just stuff, and you do with it whatever you want. And for me, that's a real sign of success with art. Art that doesn't look like art, for me, is a really positive thing.
Right. She didn't go and build a white cube inside of a gallery. So that the whole imposture sort of doesn't exist. We're actually in a real place, in a real site. And you know, the fact that it's essentially tricked out like a lived-in environment, sort of like really makes that hit home.
What's interesting about this is this isn't kind of woe is me, I was once homeless. And actually the whole thing feels really, really lovely, you know?
And realistic. These pieces essentially open up the art to not only the neighborhood, but to anybody, to anonymity. And I think that's very important.
People from the neighborhood, gorgeous black and whites, just saying, here we are.
It's the kind of work that makes folks, real folks, normal folks, folks who are not even interested in art or in the art world, part of art in a very essential way.
This is who we are. This is still a place that matters. This isn't just somewhere for tourists like fancy art critics to come.
This piece and others that are in this exhibition somehow or other make art more porous.
It's not just in the age of Duke Ellington. This is now. There are people who matter. Even if they're not famous, maybe they just own a restaurant, they still matter. This is a living neighborhood.
It's a show that obviously breaks down walls with the white cube. It also sort of breaks down some basic conceptual walls about what art should do, and in this case is doing. I think that's a wonderful thing.